Hi, my name is Jamin Goecker. I'm a realtor in South Central Alaska, and my mission is to help you to build an intentional and significant legacy for yourself and your families by coaching you in real estate. And today, what I'm going to be talking about is the top 5 mistakes I see people make when they're selling their homes. So we'll jump into that in just a minute, but before we get started, do make sure you give this video a like if you haven't done so already. Please subscribe so you can receive more information about this. And now let's go ahead and jump into today's topic. First mistake I see people make is not understanding the real factors that really impact their home when they're trying to sell it. For instance, the actual numbers that are going to impact you are going to be the days on market, the demand, and how many other properties you're going to be competing against within your price range, and a couple price ranges up and down either way. That's really what's going to impact you more than your ranking on Zillow or any of these other really superficial rules that we use to kind of gauge how we're doing. That's the most important thing. Make sure that you have someone who is coaching you through and using numbers to help you make a good decision, not just going off of your gut. Okay, that's rule number 1. Number 2 is going for sale by owner. This is a great mistake, and save the hate mail. I've heard all of it before. But the reason I say that is that when you go for sale by owner, in a market like this that's super hot, there's actually a better chance you're going to lose more money than you would have in a regular market. And the reason for this is a lot of for sale by owners are not really aware of what's going on in the market values. And with that being the case, frequently I see the property gets undersold as a result. For instance, I was speaking with somebody just a couple weeks ago here in Eagle River, and she was all excited. They got the property under contract. Didn't want to rain on her parade, but I could see clearly that she undersold it by around $30,000 to $40,000 in her pursuit of saving about $12,000 in commission. Not only that, but you also have the liability at that point, and you also have all the work that goes along with it. Title companies and lenders, they'll kind of help a little bit here and there, but it's not their job. And expecting them to just bend over backwards to help you while you're losing money at the same time is just not a good formula for success here when you're trying to maximize what you can get on the property. So for sale by owner, it's definitely a mistake. It's not for everybody. What I will say is sometimes in very, very select situations, it can work out. But I'm talking very, very specific kind of niche situations. But by and large, it's just not a viable option for most people. Has this been useful for you so far? Well, if it has, make sure you give this video a like, but more importantly, if you have any topics that you want to see covered in the future, make sure that you post those in the comments section down below so we know best how to gear the content of this channel to answer the questions that you have. Now, let's go and finish today's video. Third thing I see people do is not staging the house properly. And by this, I mean anytime I have got to step over a lot of kids' toys or stuff like that, then that's probably a dead giveaway. It's not really staged correctly. We're not talking about going in and getting brand new furniture and putting big expensive drapes up and crazy stuff like that. I'm talking about really basic, get things picked up, clear off the countertops, take the photos off of the walls so people don't feel like they're invading your personal space when they're walking in there, so they can visualize themselves being there, and just overall make sure that you treat it like you're inviting a lot of guests over that you're trying to impress, which that's exactly what you're doing. So make sure that you do that, and you'll be much further along than those that don't, even in a market like this. You might be able to get away with it not being staged very well, but you're not going to maximize how much you can get for it. And that's ultimately what we're trying to do. Number 4 is not taking really professional photos. This is a big one. Again, in a market like this, you can probably get away with it, but you're not going to maximize what you can get for it. And the reason for that is that if you have some really crummy photos, I know the photos you take are awesome. You know, they're all crummy except for the ones that you take. But you're not going to have the right equipment, and also you're not going to have the editing software later to know how to go in and do the editing to make the photos really pop in a way that they're going to show in a really digital enhanced way, which is what you have to do in today's market. If you have photos that are kind of dark and the shadows are just all over the place and the angles are really weird, then people are going to be turned off and they're going to be more inclined to just keep scrolling than to stop on your property and ask more questions. So not getting professional photos, market like this, people will still probably come forward, they might be interested, but it's not going to be as many as if you had the professional photos in there. And that's really what creates that urgency and creates those multiple offer situations to where we can actually manipulate the situation and get the best terms for you possible. So I shouldn't have to say it anymore, but get professional. Number 5, mistake that people make when they're selling their home in Alaska is not budgeting for the well and septic inspection if you have a well and septic. For those of you who live in South Central Alaska, you know that typically as a part of the deal you have a well and septic inspection that is completed on the well and septic, and what this does is just makes sure that the quality of the water is good and the septic tank is good to go and the leach field isn't about to give out either. If you are living in the municipality of Anchorage, this is called the COSA, and the engineer actually sends the report over to the city and he kind of signs off on it, says the systems are all good, and then the city stamps it, gives you the COSA, which is the Certificate of On-Site Assessment, and then you're good to go. The septic tank is over 30 years and it's a steel tank. It has to be excavated out of the ground and visually inspected, which is just a roundabout way of saying you're going to have to replace it, because by the time it's 30 years old, it is so riddled with holes at that point. If it's a steel tank, you could poke a hole through it with a ballpoint pen. So make sure that you kind of budget and you know what the condition is of your well and septic, preferably before you get into it. At least have some idea and know how old it is. If it's going to have to be replaced, then you better start saving up for that, because it's probably not going to get any better. Thank you for watching. I sure hope this has been useful for you. If you have any further questions about how to maximize how much you can get for your property when you're selling it, do make sure you reach out to me on my Facebook page. Link for that is going to be in the description section down below. If you're interested in what it's like living on the last frontier, do make sure you check out my podcast, Alaskan Journey, in the description section down below, or check out my Instagram page as well. So thank you very much. We'll see you next time.